strictly what you love.
Knowledge. Some will tell you it's impossible to do what you wanna do. Yeah, they will. Even some we call family try to stop our growth too. Sometimes they do, baby. But it's all just a matter of time, waiting for your stars to align down. Then the day your eyes open wide to see your destiny. What was meant to be will be, yeah. All the people try to tell you so. Make it happen. Make it happen. You gotta see. Yeah. What your soul is telling you to be. Yeah. Free to believe.
All who chose to hate you and all you set out to do.
Everything you're trying to do these days, they gon' hate on you.
Now we'll bring you fuel for the fire, burning right inside of you.
It's burning right inside of you. Yeah.
All the people standing in the way will pat you on the back.
They gon' pat you in the back.
Still talking shit today, we'll all be acting in your place.
Nobody knows. People try to tell you so. They try to act like you know. You gotta see. You gotta see. You gotta see. Your soul is telling you to be. Nobody knows it. People try to tell you so. That's life. It goes like this. You gotta see. You gotta see. You gotta see it. Go to leave. Your soul is telling you to be. Check these words like this. They move like vagrant foul vibes when they hop inside. Instead of amping up the party, they picking which man dies. It's so erotic, so word to my brethren, brother die. Cause it's more to this life than flouts and disrespecting mommy on the left. She's a queen and nothing less. Better do like Guru, take you to the words that you manifest. Cause you living extra high speed while the popos chase. And giving a fuck about a minute or
Yeah,
a moment
I'm
should
strictly in
waste.
it for the chase, so bring me all the tapes from the last race. I analyze, break it down, rebuild it and move. Mobilize conceptual thoughts to improve my strategy. I write the history too. Some people try to come through and rearrange my mentals. Something like an alternate state that I get into to show and prove. I realize my potential. It's elemental, free to believe what you into.
Nobody knows.
Podcast. This is Anthos and the homie Kelly.
Hello.
And is this episode 19 or 20?
That's all the
You
stuff
would-
that
yeah,
you take care of.
I know,
I'm
I was
just
about
like,
to say
you
that.
know, the main attraction.
Just the talent, huh? Let me take
I
a look
leave
here.
that all up to the little people. So,
Let me see. This is episode 19.
is it? Okay.
You know the last episode that we did?
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was?
No. Is it terrible?
No,
I'm
because
trying
it
to
was that long.
remember.
It's that long ago.
It was. I know.
That was the episode we did the trivia.
Yes, I remember that.
That's a long time ago.
I got mad at you. You set me up.
I didn't set you up.
You're
I
like,
can allow you to redeem yourself if you want.
oh, good lord.
No, we won't do that to you.
Not today. Not today. My brain is foggy. And I'm not even on pain medicine. I'm just foggy.
Pain medicine.
Yeah.
So you want to tell the audience why you're on pain medicine?
Well, I
this
was
time?
on pain medicine because I did tell the audience that I had broken my my leg, and got a screw in my leg bone, my fibula. I can't even remember anymore. And while on crutches, I was almost completely healed. And my daughter, who is 7, had put gravel on our sidewalk. And my crutch slipped out from underneath me. Oh, I love that you're dying laughing at that. That's so funny. It is actually really funny. So my crutch slipped out from underneath me, and then my legs flipped up. One went sideways, and the other one went straight. And I tore my meniscus on the other one.
One went sideways. Hang on, like you're doing.
Yeah, one went sideways.
Split, like you're doing a split.
Are you trying to visualize?
Yeah.
So as I'm
and one
crutching,
went forward.
crutching, one went normal, and one went at the knee, went like that. Yeah,
God, Kelly.
yeah. So, the thing is, I like to make life difficult as possible, and it worked this time, so.
So now you're recovering. Your recovery
I'm
time is
recovering.
going to be.
I actually, I did not have to have surgery because it was minor. It was not as bad as it could have been.
Right.
And so now I'm in physical therapy. So, yeah.
So you're gonna always have a bad knee though, like a
Oh, yeah.
sensitive knee.
Yep.
I got one of those.
Yep. Do you? Oh,
You see
but
what happens
you're
when
way
you-
older than me. That's the thing.
I did that shit when I was 21 though.
You were a baby.
Yeah. So
21
you
was a good age. I love 21.
21, especially when you're not a Jehovah's Witness though. You were a Jehovah's
I was
Witness.
a JW. I was.
I was not a Jehovah's Witness, and I was still learning how to be worldly. No, we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Learning
Yeah.
how to be outside the cult,
Yeah.
but I dived right in.
Yes. Yes, you did. I never actually dove into being worldly. It was very slow. Getting my feet wet and then meet.
But
Slow.
the funny part though about it is, at my peak of learning to be worldly,
Yes.
is when I went back.
Oh.
That's when I met Janice
Mhm.
and moved into the apartment complex and began studying with Malia's dad. What's the matter?
I'm just adjusting my volume. Is that okay?
Oh, you looked like something was wrong.
Nope.
So yeah, in fact, when we became witnesses and started studying, she was pregnant before we got married. Yeah.
Mm.
And I brought her in so proudly.
You brought her in. She was not a witness girl.
She knew nothing about witnesses, and I thought I was so lucky. Oh, she loves Jehovah. She's studying. We got
So
baptized.
tell me, did she love Jehovah, or was she like?
Nope. It turns out that she always knew that it was bullshit, and she did it for the love of me.
Oh.
Of the love of us. I know, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, she later confessed, not too long ago actually,
Yeah.
that she always thought it was bullshit.
Wow.
And she told me how miserable she always was
The poor baby.
because she always celebrated Christmas and birthday, and it was all about family.
Yeah.
and she missed all that stuff, and she said she was depressed over that secretly
Yeah.
the entire time.
Well, of course, because it's just like, when you come to that realization, if you have a little bit of time where you're actually, still in or going to... I had a dream the other night that I went to a Kingdom Hall with my brother, and it was so miserable. And I was like, I can't believe that I came in here. And somebody asked me to move seats or something like that. I don't remember what it was in the dream. And I was like, well, how Christian of you. But it was moving seats because they had, I don't remember exactly how it was, but the how Christian of you comment was apropos. And I just remember like walking out of the Kingdom Hall thinking, why in the hell did I ever step foot in a Kingdom Hall?
Oh, really? You remember thinking that in your dream?
In my dream, I was just like, I will never, ever go back.
Like, this is it. I've realized this time.
Well, I had realized. I went in for something, and I can't remember that part of the dream. I went into the Kingdom Hall not believing. It wasn't like I was like giving it another shot,
Right.
So I don't remember exactly what the premise of going was.
Can you imagine doing that? Could you have a dear friend that still associated, but she loves you dearly, and she's getting married at the Kingdom Hall? Like, could you go into the Kingdom Hall and
Oh yeah, fuck
sit
'em.
through the talk?
I could.
I don't know if I could do it.
I almost went to my dear friend's mother's funeral, and it was going to be at a Kingdom Hall. It was very likely, and apparently it did happen, that my folks were going to be there.
Right.
But I didn't care. I wanted to support her. But it turned out she wasn't going to go because
They don't need your support.
No.
People who are still in don't need the support of somebody who's not in anymore.
Oh, she wasn't. She's not in. She was going to be disfellowshipped going into the den of vultures.
Oh, okay. So that's
and I didn't want her to be alone when her mother had just passed away.
Right.
And,
we're gonna go in there together. Fuck them. We're gonna both
exactly.
go. I'm disfellowship too.
Hey, exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
And so, right, like the day before or something, she said, "Yeah, I'm not going to the service. I'll be at the family gathering afterward, but I'm not going to go." And so I was like, "Well, then I'm not going."
Right. Thank God.
But I haven't been to a Kingdom Hall in a very long time.
The last time I went was when my mom passed away.
Yeah.
But I was still in though. I mean, I wasn't in. I still believed that I needed to get my fucking life together.
Get your stuff together. Yeah.
Right. I need to
Come
get
back
my
to
life
the
together,
home.
get back under control by the cult again.
Yeah.
Speaking of cult control, you know that friend that I always tell you about that every now and again we'll have conversations about random things and he'll act like I'm a witness still? Well, Jehovah says, and he did it to me again the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, usually I'm having like exercising a lot of bedside manner when he does that.
Yeah.
But I can only do that so many times before you respect, the same way that I respect that you're still in, you respect that I'm out. So if you're not going to respect that I'm out and stop trying to witness to me and shit, you're going to get me making comments.
But
so
you know what?
Like, what?
I understand where you're coming from. However, just remember that in his heart, he wants you to live.
Right.
That's what it is. I mean, seriously, he's looking at it as his buddy is gonna die eternally, and his heart is actually in the right place.
Your buddy don't want to hear it. Your buddy.
No, he doesn't.
Your buddy did some research that you haven't done, and he doesn't want to hear you witnessing to him. That's how I feel. And that's what I told him too. So this is
I just think it's loving, actually.
It is, and it's like a familiar feeling for him to be able to do that, because I know what he's talking about.
He
I don't
probably
believe it.
He probably also justifies his relationship with you because he's still trying to, pull you back in.
Well,
and if you cut it off totally, I bet he wouldn't justify the relationship anymore.
Well, he's one of those guys who never got baptized. Witnessed all his life, those people.
Okay, never mind. I was wrong.
Right. And so the way that the subject came up was he was like, yeah, man, I'm thinking when me and my lady were about to get married, man. I'm like, married? Because he was married before. I'm like, for what? He's like,
Yeah.
for the kids, man. I go, what do you mean for the kids? If you guys are
So
together
they can see a relationship.
and love each other and love the children together, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, but the brothers, man, I go, dude, don't get married for that reason. Don't be listening to, any pressure they're trying to put on you, and it went into the conversation of, you that far gone, huh?
You're that far gone.
That's the way I'm talking about the brothers. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to tell you, man, I don't believe any of that garbage. But anyways, long story short, we got into our little back and forth that we usually do. And it was really cool because this was the first time I think we both consciously realized, okay, we don't believe the same stuff, but it doesn't have to turn into an argument.
Yeah.
And we talked as calm
Right.
as me and you are talking right now, both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to what you told me that woke you up. And I told him about the prophecies.
Yeah.
I go, you have no idea. You think you know of some of the things that didn't come true. You know nothing. I go, the list is way more longer. And,
Oh my
and
gosh,
that's
yeah.
why they don't tell you don't research, and that's why they tell you don't go on the internet.
Don't go in the older books even.
Right.
They destroy most of them.
That's why they tell you don't look at the signs at the assembly.
Yeah.
Don't talk to an apostate because you absolutely will leave. And they know it.
Yeah.
And he just, well, what are you replacing it with? I'm like, I'm not replacing it with
Why
anything.
does it need replacing?
That's what I said. I said, can you consider the fact that maybe nobody knows anything? That nobody has the answer?
Yeah.
So,
That's a terrifying thing for a witness because they have based their life so much, and that was for me.
right.
I mean, I was devastated that first
Me
night where it was
too,
like,
man.
well, if they're not right,
I felt so emotionally naked.
who do I believe?
Right.
Oh yeah. And this relationship that I had with Jehovah, there must be a different God or another
Right.
God or something, I was angry at them for representing, Jehovah,
Right.
and then doing it in the wrong way. I still had a faith until then I started doing even more research and found that, every single doctrine in Christianity is borrowed from other ancient religions way predating
Right.
Christianity.
So that's like his newest argument now. He's like, you spend
So if I don't believe them,
you're
who do
spending
I
so
believe?
much time trying to discredit them. He's like, but you don't have no answers of. I'm like, dude.
It's okay to not have answers.
That's what I said. I said,
Yeah, it
if
is
Jehovah, if Jehovah is all that we ever thought that he was, my heart is open. My heart, my mind, and my body is open to being corrected.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
he will correct me if I'm wrong. And
He will smite you.
right.
Great smiter. He will smite you.
He said something to me again yesterday in a text message.
Oh yeah.
I forgot what he said. It was not related to it, and I brought it up again
Oh okay.
because it was something that could have been. Like I took the opportunity to bring it up again,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I go, no, that's right, because I sent him the scriptures about the prophecies about false prophets.
Oh yeah. Deuteronomy 21 something or
21,
other.
18 or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said something like, how you going to use Jehovah's word that you don't even believe in to discredit the witnesses? I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
and I said, the answer to that is first things first. I can't,
Right.
we can't get into all these things at the same time. The first thing I got to do is show you how the Watchtower willfully and intentionally feeds you bullshit over and over.
Exactly. Willfully and intentionally.
Once
Yeah.
you see that, then we'll go into the other stuff. And then we don't need the Bible. But he didn't believe the Lot's daughters and all that other stuff. But anyways, yesterday
How did he not believe that? It's in
he
the
said
Bible.
I had the story all wrong.
Okay.
And I looked, double checked it, and I had the story right. It was the story that you
I know
told
you.
me,
Yeah.
that you refreshed me on.
Absolutely.
So
It's one of my favorite ones to talk to Christians about.
right. Yesterday about I said, you still believe in the witnesses, aren't you? He didn't say anything, and I go, you don't. I said, you don't think that it's having false prophecies is a big deal, do you? And he says, no, it is a big deal. And I haven't heard from him since.
Well, give him a moment.
Trust me, yeah, I'm not trying to shove anything
yeah.
down his throat. If he needs to
You
ponder.
know what's really cool is he actually said that.
I couldn't believe he said that. Could not believe he said that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe
You know
that
what?
I knew to
You
shut
might
up
change
too.
his heart.
Right.
That's good. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
You got to keep us all posted.
I will definitely
how
keep
he's
you guys all
doing.
posted. Maybe
Yeah.
get him to come on here one day. That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
Oh, between us hanging up and then getting this ready to set up, 2 Mormon boys came to my house.
Wait, what are you talking about? Between? You mean today?
Remember we were setting this up? Yeah.
Really?
Two little baby Mormon boys.
Get
Yep.
the fuck out of here.
I'm not kidding.
Huh.
No, yeah.
I've never had them come to my door before.
They love me. They flock to me like magnets. Like, I don't know how many Mormon boys have come to my house
What?
and then sent their friends. Yes.
It's really weird. The only time I've ever seen Mormons in my vicinity, they weren't going door to door. Like they were going it was always it always looked like return visits. Like they would skip doors.
Okay, that's what I am to them. I'm like a return visit.
How is that?
And they found me at when we first moved into this house. I never was like, hey, I'm moving.
Right.
They found me. And they're like,
oh, that's appealing.
weren't you with Elder so-and-so? And I tell them right away, I'm like, I'm not going to call you Elder because I could be your mother. And I don't put you in the position of elder. You're not older than me. That's what that means.
Right.
It's not, and that drives me insane that they call themselves elders when they're, 18.
Right.
But they're always very sweet. I still have a Facebook friend who was one of the Mormon boys that used to come here. Actually, it was my other house years ago when the kids were still itty bitty. Love him to death. He's just a sweetheart. Yeah, they're just darling. They're sweet and they're so willing. The whole thing is, they've been raised like witnesses to believe this stuff. There's an absolute pattern of them, going into the field or whatever you want, the ministry. They have to have this story of when their mind got right. And, this boy, I'm not going to mention his name, but just love him to death. He was like, well, I was really bad. And it was when, and I don't even know if they used the term making it their own or whatever, like witnesses always make the truth your own. It is a phrase, something
Right.
like that, where he actually made his own decision about it. And he was like, and I was into so much bad things. And I'm like, can you elaborate? When you say that you were a bad dude, and I'm looking at this boy like, oh, sweetheart, the stories I could tell. And I was a good JW girl. And he's like, I was so bad, and I was in this bad place. And then, Jesus really talked to me. I prayed, that would the Book of Mormon really be revealed to me as truth? And I was like, so can you elaborate on the bad things? And he's like, he wouldn't go into the actual details of the story of what was bad to him, but just his doubting was his bad, that was all his bad was. I was like, doubting is not wrong. In fact, God says, test him. So what you need to do is do research outside of your own organization because God says to do that. And he's like, well, I have to talk to my bishop about that, It's like, but that's what the Bible says. And the problem with the Bible is they'll always take the Book of Mormon over the Bible. So if you show them something in the Bible, and I'm not well versed,
just like the Jehovah's Witnesses with the Watchtower publications.
Yeah, and I'm not versed enough in there, and they, you know, asked me to read the Book of Mormon, so I'm a pretty quick reader, and I've got quite a bit read, and they were in shock.
Is it ridiculousness, like complete ridiculousness, or can you see how somebody can grab onto it and you can't shake your head? Nobody can see you.
No, I just I forgot. Shut up. Now I'm all embarrassed. So I'm on a roll today with the blonde moments. So when I started reading it, I actually felt like it was beyond ridiculous, and it was so, even as far as the vocabulary and everything, it is in Old English, which we know Jesus spoke Old English. King James Old English. That's what it was spoken to John Smith. And
he's the Book of Mormon
Smith?
guy?
It's not John Smith, is it? It's something Smith.
Like that.
Joseph Smith.
Right.
Sorry. Good night. It was spoken in Old English. You know, God spoke Old English to him, and Jesus as well. And but I mean, it is just like a 10th grader wrote it. You know.
No way.
Oh my God! It's not. It's
not believable.
No.
Wow.
However, some parts are verbatim what the Bible says.
Right.
Not just any translation, but the King James, which was the only translation available when Joseph Smith was around. So yeah, and then the other parts that he tried to group his other stuff in, you're like, So yeah, I'm not a fan.
Mormon.
I'm not a fan.
So have you heard about the blood transfusion?
I did. It was very sad to me. Very sad.
This is a big deal too.
Yeah.
One of them is.
Do you mean the latest persecution of witnesses?
And their right.
Yeah.
And their faith. The Quebec coroner's office is investigating the death of a 27-year-old woman who died following a difficult childbirth.
Yeah.
Eloise Dupuis, a Jehovah's Witness, died in a hospital in Levi's on October 12th, 6 days after giving birth to her son.
Absolutely heartbreaking.
The infant named Liam survived the ordeal. A spokesperson for the coroner's office says she couldn't confirm whether Dupuis had refused blood transfusion after a complicated delivery. The big deal with this whole thing is, oh my goodness, hang on a second. They want to know if the elders who were present during this decision, they want to know if if they were pressuring her to not take the blood transfusion.
Oh my God. If they were pressuring, well, they didn't have to come right out and say anything. It's all in the publications. It's all talked about, what great martyrs, the people who don't, take blood when they pass away. It's
right, but
so
I think.
Go ahead.
I think they want to know that she wasn't in her final stage, in her final moments, having second thoughts like, oh shit, I want to live. I got my baby. I want to live for my baby.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to die. And if they were there to like, well, let's keep in mind that Jehovah will reward you with everlasting life and reunite you with your baby.
Right. Well, I can't speak for that specific circumstance. However, my brother was in a coma. He was very ill. They were saying that he needed a blood transfusion, and he had life support on and a tube down his throat. It was an induced coma with drugs, a drug-induced coma, and So they were basically asking his wife, who at the time was not a witness, and she said yes. And I was part of this, and I was like, he would not say yes. He would not say yes to a transfusion. I know this. My parents were fighting. The elder, blood transfusion liaison people were there. And I mean, I was fighting for him. I didn't want him to die, but I felt like if he chose the blood over, what God wanted him to do, that was it for him. He would be doomed, and he would feel so much guilt that he would never really recover.
No pet lions for him, right?
No. So
that's what they think, though, right?
Right. So what happened was my parents convinced them to take him off of the medication so that he could wake up, and they removed his breathing tube, and they actually asked him, and even in a semi-coma type state, I mean, he was shaking his head no. I mean, and they're like, you understand you could die, and he shook his head.
Wow.
Yes. He knew exactly.
Actually, what I said is not true.
What is
They don't believe that you don't have a chance for everlasting life. It's
no.
I'm
sorry.
Thing.
Did I say yes to that?
You agreed to that, yeah.
Okay.
The crazy thing about it is it's not even a disfellowshipping offense.
What? It was.
You'll just lose You'll lose privileges. Yeah. According to the elders book, it's not a disfellowshipping offense. It's you get counseled, and you'll lose some privileges.
I know. I know that I was raised in the time that I was in it. Right. That was a disfellowshipping offense. At least I was led to believe that.
Yeah, I think we just all assume that because it's such a big deal with these blood cards and everything. But someone I saw where someone got a hold of an elder's book, and they looked into how they will deal with somebody who takes a blood transfusion.
Wow. But you know what? You would be shunned whether you were still in the congregation or not, because people would know.
Oh, yeah.
You would be marked.
Your whole career as a witness would just be
gone.
Ruined.
Yeah.
That's these it's a conscience matter.
Oh, please. Yep. So is a tattoo.
We can't prove that you shouldn't do it, but you better not.
Yep. No kidding. Yeah, it's like, it's a conscience matter, even though that, God frowns upon tattoos and stuff like that. But, as soon as somebody gets one, it's like, they're shunned. That's it.
Yeah, you might as well just have disfellowship yourself.
Yeah.
Disassociated yourself.
Well, I knew a guy who actually got tattoos because I told him that that was Levitical law. It is it doesn't say that you can't have tattoos. It was the Levites couldn't have tattoos, and the stipulation was you cannot tattoo yourself for the dead. It wasn't like don't tattoo.
Right.
The scripture, what it is talking about is don't get tattoos in remembrance of the dead. So tattoos, according to the Bible, are fine. So he went out and he got tattoos, several. And one day he came to the Kingdom Hall and he had a Band-Aid on his ear. His lobe. And I was like, that's pretty clear that you now have a pierced ear. Don't know if, I'm the only one who's, actually going to say it to your face, but you're not fooling anyone. Yeah. But he felt like if he could get a tattoo that certainly he could pierce his ears.
That's awesome.
And in today's society, 20 years ago, it wasn't considered feminine anymore. And that's why, men weren't, they frowned on it for men.
Right.
Again, not a disfellowshipping thing, but
It's definitely a
frowned on.
shunning thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But he, it didn't take him long where he was just like, it's not worth the Band-Aid every other day. So,
Right.
or in service too. But, yeah.
My when my ex-wife and I started to discontinue, or like we were far from getting our acts together, although we wanted to, and we got tattoos, and the sister that studied with her, that used to study with her, came by one day, and my ex-wife was wearing something on her arm, showing. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't on her arm. Was it on her arm?
I don't know.
No,
I've
I
never
think
seen
it was.
her.
I think it was.
She did not get a neck tattoo. Back of the neck?
It was like. It was
Oh,
like.
yeah.
Right at the bottom of the neck, almost between the shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like it was a vertical tattoo that went down like over her spine.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess she opened the door and let her come in and turned and walk in. Oh, let me see that tattoo. And she pretended like it's. Oh, that's so nice.
Right. Oh, how neat.
Yeah.
Yep. I saw that
was
at church too. After, because I, attended church for quite a while after being a witness. Same fake bull. There was a girl who was who was a lesbian, and she got a complete back piece done.
Wow.
Yeah. And, everyone was like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so pretty. But it was, she said it represents the struggle that I have with my sexuality, because obviously, being gay is bad. And so it was near, I wouldn't want my children to see it because it was that explicit, but everyone didn't say a damn word like, holy crap, cover yourself up, there's children around.
What do you mean? What was it?
Well, it was naked bodies, embracing, and it was clearly
you could
women.
see nipples and
nipples, ass, vag, which for like little bitty kids.
What? That's so
I'm not
funny.
kidding.
That's hilarious.
On her back. It was big. So I wouldn't want my children seeing that.
Right. Of course not.
It was actually quite beautiful. It was very beautiful. But, she was like pulling up her shirt and showing people, and they're like, oh, it's so pretty. And I walked over, and I'm the really believing person here. And I was like, that may not be appropriate for church, pulling your shirt up and showing that tattoo. Might want to do that, like, I don't know, in the parking lot or the bathroom. So, but everyone else who was there, who I know later was like me, murmur, was like, oh, it's really pretty. Holy crap, her hands up her groin. It represents the struggle I have with my sexuality. It's like, wow, doesn't look like they're struggling. That comes later.
I think these two recent blood stories are a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course they're a big deal, but I think it's another thing that reality's hitting people like, ooh, what if that was me?
The article that I saw was pretty clear that this was, mind control practices. To the point of giving up your life. And I don't know. I'm shocked that they haven't come up with a new policy yet of like, well, we've decided it's not quite that bad. You can actually, you can actually have a transfusion now.
I was talking to about sometime last year. I had a conversation with I think it was Angela actually about that, and I was saying the same thing that you just said, and she said, I don't see that ever happening. I said, why? She goes, because then they're gonna have to account for all these people that died for nothing.
Well, it's new light though. They've done other things that were bad.
Dead people though?
In Africa, there was a tribe in Africa, and I can't remember the tribe's name, that they allowed, it's in crisis of conscience. They absolutely were slaughtered because they were not allowed to just say, like, be registered to vote. They didn't actually have to vote. But if they didn't get a registry card, I mean, they were going to be put to death. And they ended up being slaughtered. At the exact same time in Mexico, there was there's a law, and I don't know if the law is that way still, but there was a law that you had to go register for the draft or civil service.
So all they had to do is register?
They had to register.
Right.
And you know, they could bribe authorities and do like a menial type task instead of military type work.
Right.
And if they bribed them, then they could get out of the actual weaponry part. And the society said that was fine. But these people in I almost want to say Malawi, but I'm not sure that that's it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
And
they were
that's actually what pisses off. That's what pisses off a lot of people when it comes to the witnesses being associated with the United Nations secretly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just absolutely a double standard. Mexicans, it's like, yeah, go bribe them, no big deal.
Right.
And this big tribe over here, yeah, I'm sorry, you just gotta hold fast.
We don't have a solution for you.
Yeah. Let's just, and I believe it was thousands of people slaughtered. I mean, and when I say slaughtered, I don't mean they were machine gunned down.
Like machetes
I mean they were
or something.
hacked up with machetes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Men,
terrible.
women, and children of all ages. Older people as well. There was absolute slaughter.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But like with Mexico, it was like, yeah, bribe. It's okay. Whatever you need to do.
Right. Thank God we got out before having to be faced with something like that.
I know.
So
lucky. But the thing is, I do believe that eventually the United States will crack down on religion. I don't think it'll ever be banned in my lifetime.
They're going to get some guidelines, though, huh?
What's that?
Some guidelines put into place.
Some guidelines, absolutely. I mean, the tax-free umbrella for churches is, it
tax
fucking
those
pisses
fuckers.
me off.
Right.
So bad. And I mean, like, these pieces of crap that are living in, just the mansion alone is worth $40,000.
Right.
That these people are donating, but they're totally tax-free. I think that's bullshit. I mean,
because they're just
it's a corporation.
Cutting a break to these crooks.
Absolutely. Right. So I mean, I think there's going to be a crackdown even on, the cult, the more culty type, the doomsday cult. Jehovah's Witnesses will be wrapped up in there. Anything with mind control, there's going to be some investigation. And of course, at the time when this eventually takes place, I think that it will be like, oh, now the end. It's right around the corner again, still. And, but I don't think that in the United States, unless there is a complete change of government, like, if we get more of a world type government, which I think eventually that will happen. I think because of the way certain cultures hate each other with a passion, that will be not in my lifetime at all. But I do think eventually it will be. And you know what? People act like globalization is such a bad thing. I actually don't think it is. But I think that it's going to be an evolution, not a revolution. I think that it's going to be much like, when Canada became its own country away from England. The United States was a revolution and Canada was an evolution. It just eventually, became its own country instead of being a province of England. And I think that's how it'll end up being. We'll have more trade agreements. we'll eventually get to the point where I think there's going to be less and less war. I mean, I just really believe that people are mentally in a completely different state than we've ever been in history as far as peace and acceptance and changing. And I think that's going to continue. I think that there is going to be a huge, culture revolution with, fundamentalist religions like the Muslims, who are fundamental, not all Muslims. The ones who want to slaughter you because you don't believe the same, because you're, the infidel.
Right.
Because they are out there, obviously, or we wouldn't be in war. But that's just kind of my own personal opinion.
So do you think like they'll step in and say, sorry, when the doctor's saying that you need blood or you'll die, you can't refuse the blood?
Oh, yeah. I think that, well, no. They would never directly say it, I don't think. I don't think they'll ever directly say it. You don't have to...
It's not a suicide isn't legal.
No, suicide
right?
is not... Well, it is in Washington and Oregon. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's... But you know what? The thing is, I used to not believe in that.
Well, of course, you were a witness.
I mean...
You didn't believe that when you were not a witness, did you?
I did not believe in that until... There was a story about a woman. She had cancer. She was suffering.
Out there? She moved out there, right?
Yeah, she moved to Oregon.
Young woman, right?
Young woman. Had been just absolutely beautiful, and cancer just devastated her.
Right.
She wanted to take her own life. Just when it got too bad to bear. And, it was so sad because her and her husband absolutely were in love with each other, and they were a great couple, and I mean, it broke my heart, but I felt like, you know what? It is her choice. Why does she have to suffer?
Why does she have to stay around and suffer, right?
And anybody saying no, legally, you're not allowed to end your own suffering, fuck that. Like, if I can't take it, and you have to be somebody who has been in a position, until you have been in that position, fuck you. You don't know. You don't know. And I have compassion for people in that position. I mean, I don't know if I would. I have gotten to that position and strived for life. I mean, I'm the kind of person who's like, give me life at any cost. Just because I've been so close to death. But I don't put my feelings on anyone else. Cancer is absolutely painful. It's beyond
Witnesses
painful.
would never go for that.
No, absolutely not. So,
now that will take away your
different.
Everlasting life, right? No resurrection hope.
You know what? That actually. So when my brother committed suicide, he actually was a witness. He was in good standing and all that stuff. They would not let him have his funeral at the Kingdom Hall or memorial service. They wouldn't let him have that at the Kingdom Hall. But everyone was counseling my parents, saying, "We just don't know. We just don't know. We'll see in the new system." So who knows? But I think as far as the blood transfusion thing, they're always gonna CYA. Cover your ass when it comes to that stuff. They'll never directly say it, but they will infer it to the point where people will know they don't have a choice. Just like other matters.
No matter what the laws are, right? No matter what's in place.
They will use that scripture. You do pay back Caesar's things to God, Caesar's thing to Caesar, God's things to God. And then also do whatever the authorities say until it conflicts with God's law. They will shove that in their face to the point where there is no choice.
Right.
There's no choice. And if you make the choice that goes against what they believe, you might as well be disfellowshipped. Your life will be ruined or altered to the point of, shunned, having that mental, and emotional shunning, which is complete torture.
The worst part about that, them being so extreme about that, is they have that all wrong. That's not what the Bible is saying.
I know. Makes me so sad.
The Bible is not saying do not refrain from using blood to give life.
Yeah. I know. I mean, even as a devout witness, that was a hard one for me to swallow. I believed that I must do it, but it was like, but I'm not reading in the Bible where it's actually anything that could be compared to having it as a transfusion to save your life. It was talking about things that were sacrificed to idols.
Right.
You know, things that were, they were talking about things that were strangled. Well, they were strangled because they were being sacrificed to the idols. You know, you have to know more about, the time and what they're referring to than just what that little verse says,
It was because of one wacko.
Yeah.
I forgot which president it was. Was it Rutherford? Rutherford said,
the judge.
When you're incapacitated and you need to be fed and you can't eat through your mouth, how do they feed you?
Right. And you don't.
Intravenously.
But they don't.
Right. And so when you're taking blood into your veins, it's the same as eating blood.
Yep.
And it's so not true.
It's not. It's not even sort of, yeah. But he was a maniac. He was an absolute maniac.
Where did he get that judge title from anyways? He wasn't a judge.
He called himself that. Okay,
wow.
We'll talk about that another time, but I really, I hate to say it, guys.
Right, the alarm, I got it.
I have kiddos that I have to pick up, and I am signing out.
No problem.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Alrighty.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Han, the Pattersons are coming over, and we only have about enough grass left to roll one joint.
Oh, that's okay, Ted. I'll just mix it up real good with this.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm making marijuana helper.
Marijuana helper?
That's right. With Pillsbury's new marijuana helper, there'll be enough of this Colombian to go around for everybody. And look, marijuana helper makes our dope look as rich and potent as the best red bud.
Marijuana helper.
Now you can get as much as 3 ounces from every ounce you buy, thanks to Pillsbury's new marijuana helper.
Honey, you're a genius.
There. Now put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Pillsbury's new marijuana helper from the makers of Angel Dust Cake. Pillsbury.
It really works.